Hey guys, Nick here. Thanks for stopping by. So as promised, this is my video kind of going through the liver transplant qualification process and what that process kind of looks like and what you can expect if you're beginning the process, if you're in the middle of the process, or coming towards the end of it. These are kind of some things that you can expect to happen. Now, I want to preface all this in saying that this is my experience and my experience alone. I have not received a liver transplant yet, but I have completed all of the qualification protocol for the medical facility that I'm working through. So right now it's just it's a waiting game for whenever my body is ready for a liver and for whenever one becomes available. So I just want you to know this is my experience. Everybody's a little bit different, but some of the major key points I think pretty much apply to everyone. So the first step that you're going to do is obviously you're going to need to be diagnosed. To qualify for a liver transplant, you need to have a certain MELD score, which watch some of my previous videos where I go over MELD score and exactly what it is. But once you have been officially diagnosed with end-stage liver disease, your private physician or your general practitioner will refer you to a GI or a gastroenterologist. And they will begin to do several different tests. They'll probably do CT scans of your abdomen. They may do ultrasounds. There's a lot of different things that they may do just to get a better picture of exactly what your liver currently looks like. They're going to do a lot of blood work, and they're going to do blood work over a period of time so that they can kind of get a full picture of, kind of what your liver function is like. They're going to ask you if you drink alcohol or not. In my case, my cirrhosis was caused by alcohol. So I'll get into kind of how that differs here in just a little bit. So once you've been fully diagnosed, and the medical team has determined that yes, this person is in need of a liver, they will then refer you eventually to a transplant team of providers. My experience was I was referred to Vanderbilt University. And what will happen is you'll be scheduled in to meet with a member of their GI team, and you will meet with a physician, and you will kind of go over a lot of the same stuff that you've already gone over with your previous providers. They're going to have your medications, but they're going to have kind of a clean slate on you, and they will do an evaluation. Usually takes about 45 minutes to an hour for that first initial appointment with your GI. Then what will typically happen, I thought that, after that first appointment, they're going to say, yep, you need a liver. We're going to go ahead and get you listed and move on, because I was in pretty bad shape. That was not the case. They wanted to see me again in 3 months, and they gave me a list of things that I needed to have completed, not by that time, but a list of things that I needed to have completed before I was eligible to receive a new liver. First one was obviously stop drinking immediately. I had already stopped drinking for about 7 months prior to my appointment with Vanderbilt. So that wasn't an issue for me, but they had extra steps that they wanted me to do. What they needed me to do was complete an IOP, is what they call it, which is an intensive outpatient program, which is a program that deals with substance abuse, alcohol abuse, things like that. And they needed to see that I completed that entire course. Now, for me, it took about 7 months to complete that. So they need regular updates as far as how you're doing in the program, and always send those to your physician. But you'll need to enroll in some kind of rehab program if your cirrhosis was because of alcohol. Next thing that they required that I do, I had to get a colonoscopy, and I had to get an upper GI scan or an upper scope. A lot of times they can do these procedures at the same time. That's what they did in my case. But they need to make sure that your colon is working. How are your kidneys working? How is your esophagus? What's it look like? Because a big thing that happens with cirrhosis is people get varices veins in their esophagus, and you can easily bleed out. It's something that they have to keep an eye on. So you'll get your colonoscopy, you'll get your upper GI scope, and by this point you've enrolled in a treatment program. The next stage that you're going to have to do is have regular blood work. I went to my primary care physician and was doing blood work every month and having that blood work sent over to the medical team at Vanderbilt. Once I returned to Vanderbilt for my next appointment, they looked at my progress, and by this point I was getting a little bit healthier, but I was still in some pretty bad shape. So the next stage that we went through was some adjusting of my medications that I had been on. So I was hoping again, to get listed at this point, but I hadn't completed my treatment program, and I had a couple of vaccines that I still needed to get. That's another big thing that they want you to do. They want you to be vaccinated for all of your hepatitis vaccinations. At this time, they required a COVID vaccination for surgery. You have to make sure you're up to date on your tetanus. You need to make sure that, any kind of vaccines that you can imagine, they want you to have if you're going to be considered for an organ transplant. So after the 3 months of that, I was now at the 6-month point. I met with my physician again, and I had continued to get just a little bit better, but they were still actively treating me for my cirrhosis. Now, keep in mind, during all this, I was still meeting with my GI at home regularly. I was still meeting with my nephrologist or my kidney doctor regularly, and my primary care physician. So I'm having these regular appointments. That's another huge thing you have to do. Make sure you keep up with all of your doctor's appointments, and I mean all of them. Make sure that your doctors are all have an open line of communication, that it's easy to get information from one to the other. That's something that a lot of people don't think about. They think that happens automatically, but it doesn't. You really have to be an advocate for yourself. Once you've gone through that first initial 6 months and you've completed your treatment program, the facility will begin, in my case, Vanderbilt, will be doing regular monitoring. I have to have ultrasounds done every 6 months to a year, just depending on doctor's orders. They have to do FibroScans where they check the hardness of the liver, and again, your regular blood work. If you continue to improve, then you'll be on the waiting list, but you won't be what they call activated. When you're activated, that means, you're ready for a new liver. Your body is, your new liver is essentially not working at all, and you need that new liver quickly. Now, the transplant process does not work on a first come, first served basis. Just because you applied for or needed a new liver before someone else doesn't necessarily mean that you get it. A lot of things go into this decision. Blood type, what are your genetics like? What's the age of the patient? Is the liver going to fit? There was a lot of situations where I've had friends that have had to do dry runs where they get a call saying that they have a liver, they get to the hospital and find out that the liver's not viable. And then you have to go back home, and wait again for the next call. So it can be a very frustrating, it can be a very long process. But that's been my experience with it thus far. So I hope you guys found some of this information helpful. I knew that I didn't know what to expect at all when I first came into the process. And like I said, everyone's individual situation is different. So I continue to wait for my new liver, but I hope to continue to make progress. I don't always feel good, but that just kind of comes with the territory. It's just kind of part of it. So I really appreciate you guys sitting down with me for a little bit and kind of listening to me ramble. As always, remember to be the difference in someone's day-to-day. The weekend's coming up here, so I don't know if you guys have any plans or not, but remember, eat healthy, talk to your physicians, be the difference in someone's day, and it'll make your day a lot better. So I hope you guys have a good one.